Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone, on this beautiful Sunday. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We have people from all around the world to the third webinar of the Parajutsu. We have a lot of speakers today. We will start with Rick Frohwein from the European Union that gives a short introduction. And then we have from the World Parajutsu Federation, Professor Mario and Professor Elsere, and with their lovely translator, Anne. So we will have a nice international meeting, and I'm looking very much forward to it. Then to no longer waste any time, Rick, the floor is yours. You should be all able to see the slides already. If not, please scream up.
Yes. Good day, everybody. And as Claudio said, people from all over the world. So good morning, good afternoon, good night, whatever is possible in your region. Welcome to the webinar about the Para-Jiu-Jitsu program for GJIF and continental unions, which will be mostly presented by Professor Elsirli. And after the work of the Professor Elsirli, we go to Professor Mario, who is the expert in the rules which are established for this Para-Jiu-Jitsu. And so let's first go and may I introduce you to Professor Elsirli Luz Silva. He's a second degree black belt. He's president of the World Para-Jiu-Jitsu Federation. He's 49 years young, five-time world champion in the Para-Jiu-Jitsu in the UAE. He lives in Barra de Garças in Brazil. And I know the professor now for about 4 months. And I've seen that he is dedicated with all his heart and for the Para-Jiu-Jitsu. And I think in the cooperation between GJIF and the World Para-Jiu-Jitsu Federation, we will get some nice results and successes. Agenda for today is, as I said, the introduction to the para classification and merging in events, how and what. This will be done by Professor Elsirli and by Anne. Anne is the person from out of Brazil who will make when necessary, the translations. Like, for example, with Professor Mario Silva, he speaks a very small word of English, so it will all be translated. Now I want to hand over the presentation to Professor Elsirli. Professor, it's you, and I will go mute and let me know when I go to the next slide.
Hello, everyone. Can you listen me, everyone? Okay. Please meet you. Thank you, Mr. Rick, for introduce myself. We are very happy today to talk with a very big community of JJIF. We really feel honored to be participating today. And me and Professor Mario, we begin this job in 2014, and we prepared many experience for let you, but to make it in 50 minutes is impossible. But we try tell you our experience, saying that the Para-Jiu-Jitsu today, you can see in many angles, you can see like an opportunity, a very big opportunity. At least we live in a world that the environment, social government is a powerful. You can see the Para-Jiu-Jitsu to save lives. You can see the Para-Jiu-Jitsu like a big opportunity to help your community. There are many possibilities. We are talking about 29 classifications. 29 classifications. Each classifications, you can help people with the disabled. It doesn't matter if is the disabled physical, mental, and sensorial disability. We take it and explode in 29 classifications. We are in JJIF, and we know that the community is organized like a very big team in many countries. Annie, if you can help me with the program that we showed today about physical classification. You know, like I told you, it's impossible talk about all the 29 classification. Functional classification, page 1. We read and try explain, okay? The new functional classification of the WPFFJ aims to universalize the category of paradigms worldwide. Our new categories present numbered subclasses where category 1 refers to the most severe form of the disability contemplated in that category. Categories where there are no subdivisions are also designated with the numeral 1. In this way, future updates should be included in the sequence 2, 3, 4, and so on. Letters of the alphabet that have not been used in this version are reserved in the sequence for possibility updates. We have here the books. We have a white book with the Professor Mario, and this book we have in digital form. In the future, I don't know how the JJIF will share this information, but it is possible. Number 2, please. The other screen. The next. I don't know who's changing.
The next is on, Professor. The next is on functional classification, page 2.
Okay.
Does everybody see functional classification, page 2?
Yeah, it's on the screen. Yeah, it's on the screen. Page 2.
Yes, function 2. Yes, thank you.
Okay.
During the transition period to the new WPJJF functional classifications, 2 pieces of information must be shared with user for educational purpose. Phonetic analogy refers to the English phone used for association with the new nomenclature, such as an amputee for class A and blind for class B. Former class refers to the new nomenclature used until 2021 to designate the functional classification of the category in question. Just if you take the information, it's easy. We did it in an easy way to everyone can understand the nomenclature. The next one. Okay, so we arrive. Okay, we presented now the 29 classifications. Okay, class 1. Upper limb amputation includes above elbow amputees and B amputees. I know it's easy, there is no how more than explain about it. Class A2, amputee 2. Prevision class E. It was antique classifications. Upper limb amputations includes arm amputees and B amputees below the elbow. Class A3. Lower limb amputation includes above the knee amputees and B amputees. Class A4, low limb amputation includes amputees and B amputees below the knee. In the book, you can see photos with example. Let's talk about the class B. We have 3 classes about B, the blinds category. The class B1, total visual impaired. It includes individual with no perception. Or B, the class B1, totally blind. B2, partial visual impairment, including individuals who have figure perceptions with the ability to recognize the shape of the hand up of visual acuity of 260 or visual field of less than 5 degrees. para-athletes in this category compete with the aid of an audio description of the score and minutes through the fight. And B3, subnormal visual impairment. It includes individuals who can define images with the visually acuity of 260 until 660, or a visual field between 5 and 20 degrees. Also includes in monoculars. It's new, the monoculars for the new roles. Para-athletes in this category compete with the aid of an audio descriptions of the score and minutes through the fight. Is that the next, please? We talk about the class A and B. The class C, the cognitions category. Well, I would like to take attention of all that we really can save many lives. You know, the world today is living the, I don't know how to explain you, but I think the humanity is understanding now about the TIA. The TIA is taking the world. You know, there are many. If you take it around the communities, we are talking about around 20% each community in the world. Preview class O, class C1, clinical diagnosis of cognitive impairments that include but are not limited to the autism spectrum disorder and attention deficient hyperactivity disorder. Class C2, there are many. This class C1 is, the number is scared about this number. Cognition preview class C2, class O, and now the class C2. Clinical diagnosis of cognitive impairment, including but not limited Down syndrome and other syndrome conditions where technical learning is not compromised. Class C3, intellectual and cognitive disabilities. It includes individuals with any degree of functional or clinical disable of cognitive functions where technical learning is not compromised. Remember that in the federation, we did this job to classify it before the competitions. I think there is another moment to talk about this. The class D1, DIF, bilateral total hearing, is important. To be a para-athlete in the class DIF, you must, the para-athlete coming from this class, the para-athlete must be totally DIF to pertain to be in the class D1. Please, the next. Class E, the encephalo categories, okay? Class A1, individuals with severe cognitive and motor impairment secondary to traumatic brain injury. Class A2, individuals with moderate or mild cognitive and motor impairment secondary to traumatic brain injury. Class A3, complications of cerebrovascular accident, CVA, in Portuguese AVC, or encephalic vascular accident, AVA, individuals with stroke sequelas that compromise limb mobility in any configuration and are able to remain upright in a sitting position without assistance. Class A4, congenital or other non-traumatic encephalus, individuals with impaired cognition and or mobility due to neurological diseases of different origins. They include cerebral palsy of any origin. Class A5, multiple sclerosis of other conditions that compromise brain functions, optic nerve, and or spinal cord. They include progressive neurodegenerative disorders. would like that the experience that our federation and now with the JJIF we have is that all these classifications in Brazil we have many. It's important I say that in this moment that all the championships we are last weekend we take the competition number 121 without injuries, without lesions. It's very important. The classifications, you need understand the technical part, but you need understand the fight. We have a commission with at least 3 black belts and 2 magicians and 2 physical preparators or professors of physical educations in the team of physical classifications. The next, please. Class E, the irreversible paralysis category. Okay. Class I1, serious and irreversible complications of polio. Individuals with severe sequelae of poliomyelitis in the upper limbs. Class E2, serious and irreversible complications of polio. Individuals with severe sequelae of poliomyelitis in the lower limbs. Class E3, mild or moderate and irreversible classification of polio. Individual with mild or moderate sequelae of poliomyelitis and the upper limbs. Class I4, mild or moderate and irreversible complications of polio. Individuals with mild or moderate sequelae of poliomyelitis in the lower limbs. Now we arrive in class K1. I think is the order, okay? I think there is a wrong here. The next class, please. Okay. Because the letter, the class key is very important. First, if you take this figure, you need to understand the vertebral body, facet joints, pedicles, and invertebral disc. If you take all the vertebral, we are separated in 4 parts, okay? You begin the class K1, K2, K3, and K4. Let's go. I'm looking for many para athletes representing many countries participating now, and you are here in these classes, friends. I think the most important class in para jiu-jitsu. Why? They are bodies that more get life for their bodies, for movement. Avoid scare. Scare is a lesion that can really take the para athletes, the class key for death. It's too dangerous. They scare, and the para jiu-jitsu can help lots of about these guys. It's very important. Only the class key is a very big reason to the para jiu-jitsu happens in all of your academies in all around the world. Okay, let's go. Class Q1, cervical spine cord injury, individuals with lesions in the cervical segment, C1 to C8. It's simple, which are related to movements and sensibility of the cervical region and upper limbs. Class K2, upper thoracic spinal cord injury, individuals with lesions in the upper thoracic segments, T1 to T7, which are related to the movements and sensibility of the chest and the part of the upper limbs. This is the class K2. I think the most of them. Class K3, vertebral disc and low thoracic spinal cord injury, low thoracic spinal cord injury, individual with the lesions in the lower thoracic segments, T8 to T12, which are related to movement and sensitivity of the abdomen and part of the upper limbs. Class K4. I call attention for class K4. We need more para-athletes of these classifications. I always say to the para-athletes, they need invite another showcase of the para jiu-jitsu with the class K is very important. Lumbar spinal cord injury, individuals with lesions in the lumbar segment L1 to L5, which are related to the movements and sensitivity of the lower limbs. Okay, this is the class, the very important class K for the humanity. The next, please, class L, the les autres. Les autres is a French expression. In Portuguese, os outros in Spanish, the others in English. The class L1, it includes individuals with motor disability included in prevention classes, classification subject analyzed by the FBJJF Functional Classifications Department. The next, please. Okay, class N1, nanism. Okay, nanism or dwarfism, it includes individual with a short stature derived from skeletal dysplasia, such as achondroplasia, hydrodonchroplasia, or any other congenital disorder that impede growth. Only that. Class L, the plexus category. The plexus category, P1, plexus. Total brachial plexus injury is the P1. Includes individual with the brachial plexus nerves measured by strength, pressure, or cutting, in whom arm mobility, uni or bilaterality is totally compromised. The P2, partial brachial plexus injury, includes individuals with the brachial plexus nerves damaged by strength, pressure, or cutting, in whom arm mobility, uni or bilaterality is partially compromised. Please, the next screen.
The next one will be the introduction to Professor Mario Silva. So I suggest that we continue with Mario, and after he has done his presentation together with Anne, then we have the open questioning from the people. Okay? Then Anne, can you please help Professor Mario?
Yeah, for sure. I'm ready. Professor Mário, se quiser apresentar, eu vou fazendo uma tradução sequencial. I do a sequential serial translation after each sentence or each short sentence.
You are
Professor
muted,
Mário,
Professor.
o microfone está desligado, professor.
Anne, o que seria agora essa primeira introdução aqui?
É a sua apresentação. Sua apresentação Black Belt.
Olá, bom dia, boa tarde, boa noite a todos.
Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good night for everyone.
Meu nome é Mário Edson de Oliveira Silva, sou faixa preta de Jiu-Jitsu 5º grau e com apoio de vários para-atletas, o escritor do livro que nós estamos apresentando hoje para vocês.
I'm Professor Mario. I'm 5th degree black belt in Jiu-Jitsu, and with the help of many of our athletes, we are introducing to you today the rules book that I'm the author.
Quando eu e o professor Elcei, nós começamos esse processo do para-jiu-jitsu, era tudo muito sem, como que eu explico, sem possibilidades ou com muita dificuldade para pessoa com deficiência.
É, eu vou fazer
Então,
traduções mais, intervalos mais curtos, que a parte não ficar muito longa para eu citar. When we start, Professor Vicky, you can go to the next slide, please. Professor Mario just told that when he started with Professor Rosilei, it was very hard to people with disability to compete in jiu-jitsu because they don't have any adaptive rules and they should competing among the conventional or the typical athletes. We can go the next, Professor Rick.
esse, nesse processo, nós sentimos ali a grande necessidade de termos uma regra baseada no jiu-jitsu, com as adaptações ao para-jiu-jitsu, com adaptações a cada deficiência, a cada pessoa e as suas peculiaridades.
When Professor Mario and Professor Slay started the process to organize this book, they realized that it should need a book that will be able to present rules adapted for each one of the particularities of each kind of disability. Like it's not a general rules book, but one specialized rules book where each one can see inside.
A nossa regra, sem esquecer que a nossa regra, ela vem do jiu-jitsu. Mas precisávamos entender o que poderíamos acrescentar ou melhorar para a pessoa com deficiência. E um dos grandes desafios nosso foi criar, por exemplo, como um cadeirante poderia fazer 2 pontos de queda.
Okay. One of the major challenges to design this book were find specific details or adaptations for each one of the disabilities, and one of them were related to wheelchair users and how to score them about takedowns, for example.
E com o tempo, nós assistindo cada luta, vendo cada luta, cada posição e conversando com cada pessoa de cada deficiência, a sua deficiência, para tentar entender o que seria melhor dentro da regra para classificação funcional.
And along the time, watching many para-athletes fighting to them and talking with them, listen them, we understood what would be the best way to present adapted rules that can, where everyone has the chance to fight in equal environments. Listen them was one of the most important part to design this book.
Se vocês olharem, vocês viram ali, o professor Elcirlei apresentou a classe L1.
Professor
Ela
Slay
é uma
presented
classe.
L1 class.
Essa classe, na competição, a L1, o paratleta ele tem tanto a dificuldade nos membros superiores quanto inferiores. Então, algumas posições no jiu-jitsu, na competição do para-jiu-jitsu, nós tivemos que alterar a regra original, como, por exemplo, uma inversão de posição, que no jiu-jitsu não vale nada. Para essa classificação especificamente, para jiu-jitsu, ela é considerada uma raspagem ou considerada 2 pontos.
For example, when Professor Osile introduced you the class L1, that class is one of these examples that you have some serious adaptation because, for example, for this people specifically, they have impairments in both limbs, superior and inferior limbs. It means some rules cannot be adapted to them. For example, swipe. Sweep is not considered sometimes pointed in competition, but in para-jiu-jitsu, the simple thing that sweep the opposite is considered to get points because it's hard to them to do this movement. Eu só fiz uma ponderação, Cowboy, dizendo que para eles é difícil fazer esse movimento e essa é uma das razões por qual é pontuado a raspagem.
Sim, sim. Ah, classificação B1, cego total. Como explicar, introduzir para o árbitro que ele precisa, então nós tivemos que colocar isso no livro, que o árbitro ele precisa sair do centro do tatame, buscar esse paratleta, levar ao centro do tatame e começar já a luta com duas pegadas. Esses paratletas eles se separam durante a luta, isso causa um sério transtorno à competição. Então, nós optamos por colocar essa função, essa opção na regra, que tanto o para-atleta ele tem direito a um acompanhante até o início do tatame, e o árbitro tem a obrigação de buscar esse para-atleta ao centro do tatame. São várias adaptações, buscando cada tipo de classificação.
Other example that Professor Mario is presenting is related to class B1, total blind. And one of these is you should include in the rules that one's mandatory rules for the referee is to conduct the parathlete from the mat, from the outside mat to inside the mat, in the center of the mat. And keep them, grip themselves through the gi, because it's hard to keep. For example, if during the fight they go on opposite sides, is also one of the mandatory rules for the referees to put them together and start again the fight. That's not a regular rule in the regular jiu-jitsu, but for para-jiu-jitsu it's mandatory because the fight between two blind people could be very hard to keep under control. And also they should be informed about the time. That's one of the rules of the referee also as well. They should be to tell them like rest 2 minutes, 1.5 minutes, 30 seconds, or another time, just to them to realize how long time we are fighting about them between them.
Para vocês entenderem a importância desse livro, hoje nenhum sistema no mundo, mesmo a inteligência artificial, consegue fazer classificação funcional.
For you understand how important is this book, it's any other system in the world, including artificial intelligence, could be designed functional classification like this is designed by the way we design this book.
Por que isso? Dentro da mesma deficiência, existem infinitos níveis de mobilidade.
And why it's so hard? So why it's so hard to do is because even among the same class, the same disability, we have a lot of diversity, and that should be mandatory to know each one, to talk with each one, to realize what is exactly the disability that can interrupt or compromise the development of the fight. Sorry.
Hoje falando de um sistema que gera uma chave de jiu-jitsu. Peso, faixa etária, idade. O sistema gera a chave. O sistema conta as lutas. No para-jiu-jitsu, dentro da mesma classificação funcional, nós precisamos entender como esse para-atleta ele se desenvolve no tatame e qual o nível de mobilidade dele para que nós consigamos casar a melhor luta possível, evitando assim, como já temos há muitos eventos, um acidente ou uma lesão grave dentro do tatame.
One of the things important to highlight is that in the regular system to design brackets for events in Jiu-Jitsu, usually it's done automatically by belt, weight, and age. And the para-jiu-jitsu is not possible because you should look what is disability and trying to put together in the same bracket similar disabilities to make sure the fight will be equal for everyone. And in this sense, avoid any injury during the fight. That's one of the reasons of the success of our events, because beyond the regular classification using belt, age, or weight and age, the most important part is related to disability itself and trying to put together the same level of disability, not exactly among the same age or belt or other item.
Muitas, para vocês entenderem a importância da classificação funcional, quando nós vamos montar, quando nós vamos montar um evento que as pessoas não são classificadas, a chance de erro, a chance de acidente, a chance de uma luta mal casada é muito grande.
For example, when the federation is invited to organize an event where the fighters, the parathletes, there's a have a functional classification, it's hard to do this because it should be done in the previous hours of the fight. And the chance to be in error is higher because we don't know that specific, that particular fighters. And that's one of the reasons the functional classification in advance, it's very important to do. And that's one of the reason we trying to improve the number of the para-athletes in the federation, because it's the way we do the functional classification in advance, collecting the medical history of each one, talk to each one, and try to design the best bracket as possible during the fight, the best environment, the best environment of the fighters in the best bracket as possible.
Por exemplo, nós tivemos que entender nesse processo, com a ajuda dos próprios paratletas, a ajuda de médicos, fisioterapeutas, que algumas classificações elas não podem sofrer certos tipos de ataque. Por exemplo, C1, ele não pode sofrer um ataque de pescoço. Mata-leão e outros, qualquer tipo de ataque que force a sua cervical. Então, isso é um processo longo, foi um processo longo.
For example, to design this book, one of the important parts, we talked to a lot of other professionals, like from the health science, physicians, physiotherapists, and listen them regarding some particular fights techniques that cannot be allowed during competition. For example, for some parathletes, it's not allowed to do any movement around the neck that could be damage it more, even more, the parathlete. Some class like K1, for example, or another one, to not be able to do any movement around the neck. That the referee should be pay attention during the fight to avoid this kind of movement.
A nossa regra, a regra do para-jiu-jitsu, ela está se aperfeiçoando cada vez mais. Nós já vamos preparando, nós já estamos preparando mudanças, nós já estamos preparando novas adaptações e provavelmente surgirão novas classificações.
The rules for para-jiu-jitsu, it's very dynamic, and we are working now to update this book. We are working on the second edition of this book, just because this is very dynamic system. We are probably we introduce more classes on the next book, due to this updatings we are doing during the events, talking with the athletes and the other professionals.
Se eu for ficar falando hoje aqui de classificação funcional, nós vamos levar 6, 7 horas de curso, que realmente é muito vasto. E cada luta, cada combate, cada evento a gente descobre alguma coisa diferente, alguma coisa que precisa ser mudado.
If you talk about functional classification today, probably we will stay here for more 6 hours talking about this. It's very extended subject. But for you understand, it's even each event we go for as small than you say, we learn about this because anyone with disabilities can show us that we need to adapt even more for the next competition. Professor Mário, o Rick mudou o slide para fusão de classes, como é que é feita a fusão de classes nas categorias? Entre as categorias, que classes podem ser migradas?
Uma das nossas grandes dificuldades, principalmente no começo, quando tinham poucos para-atletas, era como fazer a junção dessas categorias. Então, o livro ele explica algumas possibilidades dessa junção. Já houve junções, já houve casamento de lutas que ela até fogem um pouco do que tem na própria regra, mas por opção do paratleta de querer competir.
One of the most challenging steps we did in the past was to have the number of parathletes to do a competition, because the brackets have sometimes just one or two fighters with different classes, and that's one the way we design suggestions or rules among the rules regarding to merge small categories during the competition only. And sometimes it's requests from the organizer very attention eye, because sometimes the merging of the category is not usual, but if the parathletes want to compete, want to fight, and if both agree with them, we should give them this opportunity to fight between them. But for some categories, not allowed to mix it together, to put together in the same brackets, just to avoid any other damage, even worse than the disability that the parathlete has in that moment. Eu só fiz um adendo, Mário, que você falou, dizendo que às vezes é até proibido fazer algumas fusões para evitar que aconteça uma lesão ainda pior do que o paratleta já tem.
Dentro dessas fusões, o que nós podemos fazer? Vou citar dois exemplos aqui, um exemplo do que pode e um exemplo do que não pode.
I do to you two examples. One it's allowed and other it's not allowed to do merging categories.
Classe K, ela pode se juntar tranquilamente com a classe I.
Class K, the wheelchair users can be put together in the same bracket with class I, irreversible damage. Usually poliomyelitis.
Já a classe K, ela dificilmente pode ser, ela não pode ser, na verdade, fazer o agrupamento com a classe A de amputado, por exemplo.
Another example that not to do, it's not put together parathletes from class K, wheelchair user, against parathletes from class A, amputees. Doesn't matter the amputees, is upper or lower limbs. They cannot fight together.
Anne, eu acho que eu posso aqui já finalizar, né, Anne? Já tem alguma outra dúvida? Pede para ele, não sei se ele quer mudar o slide.
Professor, you can go to the next slide, please. I think it's the last one.
This is indeed the last one. I think that what Professor Mario just told to us, that it is also giving some questions from out of the people which are joining this meeting.
Professor Mario is asking.
In the chat, I entered the email address from Professor El-Sirli. So if people have any questions, they can send an email to Professor El-Sirli, or they can send the email to me. because we are working in close contact together with the Brazilian people. And then we will come back to you. If people want to have a more specificated part of the rules discussed with professors and then it is also possible. Then we can plan a meeting specified for the federation or for the trainer or whatever, without any problem, of course. So that's very important. What also is very important is that if you see at point number 2, is that we need to write a paragraph in the organizer's handbook, which from GGIF. I will make the start with this and hand over it to Claudia, and she will add it in as an addendum to the organizer's handbook. Because when you organize an event and you have para athletes in your event, you need to organize some extra items. It's just not like the regular athletes. They can walk and do whatever they want. They can go to a small bathroom. They can have a small dressing room, even, for example. But when you are working with people with a disability, it's clear, of course, that they need to have some help sometimes. They need to be able to enter with the wheelchair to the sports venue, and they need sometimes a bigger toilet because they need to enter with the wheelchair or with a chaperone who is helping them. So this is very important when you're organizing an event for these athletes. For the rule book, as already said by Professor Mario and Professor El Sirli, is that they're working on number 2, on an updated page. As I understand it well, it will be in cooperation with the GGIF Jiu-Jitsu head referee, Professor Alexander Nascimento, and then this is also sorted out. I have a question. If I can make the first one, that should be really nice, to Professor Mario. If you can translate for me, Anna, to Mario.
Yeah, for sure.
Is where can the people find which merging is allowed? Is this in a rule book or is this somewhere else where people can find this?
Could you repeat, please, Professor Mikkel, where
Yes.
people can find what?
Yes, Professor Mario was talking about merging class K with, I did not remember exactly, but to merge categories classes with during a competition merging, which are allowed. Where can we find this?
Professor Maria, ele pergunta sobre a fusão de classes, onde a gente pode encontrar isso para preparar para uma competição. Eu acredito que seja, ele está perguntando sobre no livro onde, mas onde pode se encontrar isso? O microfone está fechado.
Nós temos no livro foi colocado todas as possibilidades dessas fusões, né? Então nós temos ali, se eu não me engano, 2 ou 3 páginas que falam exatamente de todas essas fusões, aonde elas podem, aonde e como elas podem ser feitas.
Professor Rick, if I understood your question is where we can find the system to do this merging class. That was your question, yes? Okay. Professor Mario answered that it's in the book. We have 2-3 pages dedicated to this, the most common possibilities that we find during competition.
Perfect.
For sure, for the updating versions of the book, probably we extend more pages to this because more new situations we present on.
Where can people find this book? Can they order it somewhere or is it downloadable?
It's downloadable in the website, the Brazilian Federation website, but I asked Professor Mario to talk about this and I'll translate for them.
So if they send an email to Professor El Sirli, they get the link where they can find all the materials, the documents.
Yeah, it's already linkable right now, but I asked Professor Mario just to do a distribution and I'll translate for everyone. Mário, ele perguntou onde as pessoas podem encontrar o livro, né? Eu já antecipei dizendo que está no site da federação, clicável, mas ele quer saber se existe uma outra versão para uma outra possibilidade de quem queira adquirir o livro ou alguma outra informação. Daí, o que você quiser, eu faço a questão.
Então, quando nós decidimos, eu e o professor Elcilei, nós decidimos criar a regra do para-jiu-jitsu, nós não fizemos essa regra para que ela seja vendida, comercializada de qualquer outra forma. Então, esse livro ele está disponível no site da FBJJP.
When we designed the book, me and Professor Slay, Professor Mario is studying this, they don't think about to sell the book. It's not a saleable product. And for that reason, this is for free. It's available for everyone for free, downloaded. The Brazilian Federation website is fbjjf.org.com.br. We have put this on the, Claudia put it in the chat, the link. And that's where you can download this, the full content for free.
I see
A
that.
única coisa,
Sorry.
Pode falar,
a
Mário.
única coisa que nós pedimos é que as pessoas usem esse livro sem problema nenhum, mas que não esqueçam de dar ao crédito à FBJJP, à WPJJF e ao autor do livro. Mais nada além disso.
The only thing to ask to everyone that uses for free to use, we want to be used for everyone as much as possible, but please don't forget to tell the credits to the Brazilian Federation Jiu-Jitsu, Para Jiu-Jitsu, also the World Federation, the World Para Jiu-Jitsu Federation, and also the author, Professor Mário Silva, because that was a hard work to do, and a lot of people helped to do this, and we just ask them to create, to credit this when using it.
É isso.
Yeah.
Ele tinha perguntado, o Rick perguntou sobre a questão das classificações, das divisões, elas estão a partir da página. Elas têm desde o início do livro, mas elas estão mais enfatizadas a partir da página 57, né? E como eu falei, esse livro é para o jiu-jitsu, esse livro é para todos os paratletas, professores, instrutores. Esse livro foi criado realmente para dar um norte a todos aqueles que competem no para-jiu-jitsu.
As Professor Rick asked about where is specifically for the functional classification, the book it's in the PDF is in the middle page, among page 28 and 60, 56. That's exactly the middle of the book. The only reason for that is because when we have the hard copy of the book, exactly is the blue page in the middle is easy to find. If you want to go printed it, is also we suggest you print in color because it's exactly is easy to access the page in the middle. Só fiz uma complementação, Cowboy, dizendo que quem tem a cópia impressa ou quem vai imprimir, a gente sugere que faça impressão colorida, porque são exatamente as páginas centrais e fica fácil de acessar especificamente as classes funcionais.
So maybe if the people
Eu
have
acho
some
que
questions for Professor Elsiri also.
Ele só dizendo que está aberto para todo mundo fazer perguntas. Se alguém quiser fazer para o Silei ou para você, por favor.
eu só gostaria de agradecer a GJAF, a todos que estão participando hoje, a todos que apoiam o Para-Jiu-Jitsu, apoiam a pessoa com deficiência. Tá? Esse trabalho é um trabalho árduo, é um trabalho constante. A criação desse livro, ele é só o começo. Esse livro, hoje, com a quantidade de páginas que tem, eu acredito que daqui 3, 4, 5 anos isso quase vai dobrar. Só realmente agradecer a todos, tá? E nos colocarmos à disposição, tanto eu quanto o professor Auxilei, a tirar qualquer dúvida, inclusive nos nossos contatos pessoais. Obrigado a todos e usem com muito carinho esse livro que é feito para cada um de vocês.
Professor Mario just want to say thanks for everyone here in this meeting, thanks to GJIF, and share with this book with everyone is one of the goals of this book. This is a hard work, long time work, with a lot of hands together, and it's for them. It's very pleasurable that it's use it for everyone. Use it with care, use it with the way this should be. And if you have any questions, any doubts, they are presenting their contact, including their personal contact, to answer particular questions related to rules, related to brackets, or anything that you want to design the best event, including disabled people. That's the idea. How much more we can include disabled people in the events, that's better for everyone. We are saying thanks.
Professor El-Sirli, any words to close the meeting? You're muted. You're muted.
Tá mutado esse microfone.
O microfone está desativado, Alcilei.
Alcilei, o microfone está desligado.
Okay, sorry. I would like to thank you, Sir Mr. Ricky, for the opportunity. I would like to thank you for all professors that I'm seeing here, the faces. I would like to say this, the Para-Jiu-Jitsu today is my life. I live for that. And we are working for that, a better world, you know. We will be in the event of the World Championship in Greece. And I think we are letting the relationship between the WP, JJF, and JJIF together. We think that JJIF is the place to make the Para-Jiu-Jitsu grow and become stronger, because the most of the countries of the world is with JJIF, and JJF has an organized system that can make arrive quickly the Para-Jiu-Jitsu for everyone. If you check in your community, if you see around, there are many. There are many. Let's run, guys. Let's run. Is that?
Thank you, Professor El-Sirli. Thank you, Professor Mario. Claudia, I'm still in, but you are.
I am, of course, still in. I stopped not the recording.